Scene 1, take 96.
Hello and welcome to this year's first ever University Alliance Virtual Summit. We should of course have been holding this year's summit at Kingston University in their wonderful new townhouse, but we all know the reasons why we can't be together this year, but we very much hope we will be together next year at Kingston. So we've gone virtual this year and have worked hard to pull together a virtual programme of events that we hope will have something for everyone to enjoy and participate in. We have a range of organisations and individuals joining us, including Lord Gus O'Donnell, former Cabinet Secretary, and also the current Universities Minister, Michelle Donnellan, and also the Shadow Universities Minister, Emma Hardy MP, and Robert Halfon MP, Chair of the Education Select Committee. We also have sessions with Welcome, NOUS and Public First, and also two new events that we're trialling this year, the University Alliance Virtual Awards, which recognises those individuals and teams that have displayed values and behaviours which we think are synonymous with being part of the Alliance, and the big UA quiz, which we hope you will join in later today. So we are living in extraordinary times, and as I look back since our last summit held at UWE's Business School, I reflect on what was for so many reasons just the most extraordinary year. June 2019 was of course my first UA summit as CEO, 3 months into the role, and of course the summit took place in the wake of the long-anticipated Org Review, launched as part of Theresa May's Song after she had tendered her resignation. What followed was the appointment of a new Prime Minister, a general election, Brexit done, and in between the returning, resigning, reappointment and appointment of a ministers responsible for universities. And now, of course, a pandemic. So not what you would call your usual year. So what have we at UA been up to? Well, we finalised and launched our 3-year strategic plan, which you helped co-create. Our policy and comms plans were set out and revised to keep up with the changing political landscape to ensure we kept pace and ensured Alliance members' views were always represented in latest government thinking. We set out our manifesto tests for the general election, and we welcomed 2 new members to the Alliance, Birmingham City University and Leeds Beckett University. Both universities have already proved themselves to be huge assets to the Alliance. And I'm delighted to announce that earlier today the Board of Members formally ratified another new member to join the Alliance. We are delighted to welcome Anglia Ruskin, who will be joining us formally from the 1st of August. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome Vice-Chancellor Professor Roderick Watkins and his team to join the Alliance. The last few months have of course been dominated by COVID-19, and as we all moved literally overnight to a virtual world, you were working at pace to convert teaching, learning and assessment to online. I truly feel humbled by the passion and determination of all of you who have worked tirelessly for your students, staff and your institution to ensure that everything that could be done has been done. I just hope as UA we've been able to play a small part in supporting you through those challenging times, through the networks we've run and created and the battles that we've taken up on your behalf to government, select committees, politicians and sector agencies, seeking stability for the sector and making the case for long-term financial sustainability. Certainly early feedback from our network satisfaction survey would suggest that our networks have been valuable, with 87% of you rating the network discussions extremely or very useful. In particular, it's been the intelligence sharing, connectivity and the ability to sense check and benchmark across similar institutions on issues and actions that has been viewed as most valuable. I believe through the disruption and adversity that we have found real strength in our collectivism and the true value in working together as an alliance, and long may that continue. But of course it hasn't just been about keeping the university going and preparing for the future new normal. It's also what you've done playing your part at the front line. I know I won't do justice to the extent and depth of what you have all done, but here's just a few powerful examples. Preparing and releasing 2nd and 3rd year nurses and other allied health students to the front line, releasing staff to return and volunteer, making and donating PPE, manufacturing hand gels, even building a field hospital, developing new rapid diagnostic tests, and even turning accommodation over to house key workers and the homeless. And the public have certainly taken note. In a recent poll that we commissioned, nearly 60% of the adult population recognise the role that universities like ours have played in supporting the NHS during the COVID pandemic. So as we look forward to our next chapter, and what I hope we will be talking about at next year's summit, is the resounding recognition and role and value of our universities by the nation and nations, by government and governments, as we play our part in the economic recovery of this country in a post-COVID Brexit world. People, place, public sector, and the delivery of future professions through partnership and the commitment to our true purpose. Certainly, I have good reason to be hopeful, as we have recently found through the polling work that we've commissioned, with over half of the population recognising the role that universities like ours will play in the growth of small businesses and improving jobs and productivity in both the local areas and across the country. On supporting innovation and using applied research to solve challenges, the results are even more pleasing, with 75% of the population recognising the role of universities like ours. So whilst we navigate the challenges of the next weeks and months, I believe we have a huge opportunity to make our mark, building on the recognition of what our universities have delivered through the COVID-19 crisis and what we can deliver through the reskilling and community regeneration to build a future Britain. It's after all in our DNA as universities. It's why we came into existence in the first place. So enough from me. Enjoy the summit. Thank you for being such a great bunch of universities to represent and work with. Thank you to all the VCs, and as particularly to Deborah as Chair of University Alliance. And thank you also to the team at UA. And finally, and most importantly, take care and look after yourselves.